Have you ever felt so afraid to try something new because deep down you were terrified of what might happen if you failed? Not just nervous, but frozen? Like your whole body tightens, your chest gets heavy, and a voice whispers, "Don't even try. What if you mess it all up?" That voice, quiet yet crushing, has stopped more dreams than any enemy ever could. But what if I told you that the fear of failure is not your enemy? It's your invitation? Picture this. You're standing at the edge of everything you've ever wanted. It's just one step away, but that step, it's surrounded by doubt, by risk, by uncertainty. So, you don't move. You stay there, dreaming of the life you want but never reaching for it, because fear convinces you that failing would be worse than never trying. And that's the trap. That's the illusion. But what if the fear you feel isn't a warning, but a signal that you're about to do something meaningful? The fear of failure isn't about failure itself. It's about what we think failure means. Rejection, shame, disappointment. That sinking feeling in your stomach that says, "See, you weren't good enough." We carry those wounds from childhood, a bad grade, a laugh from the crowd, a parent's disappointed look. And over time, we begin to avoid anything that might bring us back to that feeling. We play it safe. We aim low, we settle, not because we can't succeed, but because we're terrified of the pain that comes if we don't. But here's the truth. Failure is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's your mentor. It's the fire that shapes the steel inside of you. The Stoic philosophers knew this. They didn't run from failure. They walked toward it. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, faced betrayal, disease, and endless war. He wrote in his journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He believed that the very thing you fear is the very thing that sets you free. Fear of failure is not about reality, it's about imagination. Your mind paints the worst possible outcome and convinces you it's the most likely one. But stop and ask yourself, how many of those fears ever came true? How many things have you worried about that never even happened? Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Failure doesn't break you, your interpretation of failure does. Change the story and you change your life. Imagine you applied for a job and didn't get it. That's not failure, that's redirection. Imagine you spoke in public and stumbled over your words. That's not failure, that's experience. Imagine you poured your heart into something and it didn't work out. That's not failure, that's growth. Every great person you admire, every artist, every leader, every innovator, they all failed, repeatedly, painfully, publicly. But they didn't stop, they didn't run. They faced the fire and came out stronger. There's an old proverb that says, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." If your life is too comfortable, you're not growing. If you never fall, you never learn to rise. Failure reveals who you are, not in the moment you fall, but in the moment you decide to rise again. That's where character is born. That's where courage begins. We fear failure because we're too focused on outcomes. Did I win? Did I get the result I wanted? But Stoicism teaches us something far more powerful. It says, focus only on what you can control, your effort, your discipline, your mindset. Let go of the outcome. You don't control whether people like your work. You don't control whether your plan succeeds perfectly. You control you, and that is enough. That is more than enough. Think about a time when you avoided something you really wanted because you were afraid to fail. You might have told yourself you weren't ready, that it wasn't the right time. But if you were honest, wasn't it fear? Wasn't it the quiet voice saying, what if you look foolish? What if people laugh? What if you're not enough? But let me ask you something deeper. What if you're more afraid of never knowing what could have been? There's a hidden cost to avoiding failure, and it's regret. The what if that haunts your sleep. The opportunities you never took, the words you never said, the life you never lived. You don't avoid pain by playing it safe. You just trade one kind of pain for another. And regret is a slow, silent kind of pain, one that eats away at your soul quietly, year after year. But here's the breakthrough. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to move forward with fear. Feel the fear and step anyway. Speak anyway. Try anyway. Fail anyway. Because failure is not a sign that you're broken, it's a sign that you're trying. And that is where real transformation begins. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evil. Every morning they would imagine the worst-case scenario, not to be negative, but to train the mind, to say, if this happens, I will endure. If I lose, I will rebuild. If I fail, I will rise. By facing the worst in your mind, you remove its power in real life. You become unshakable. You become free. You can start this today. Before your next challenge, pause. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Then answer it. Face it. Feel it. And remind yourself, even that is survivable. Even that is a lesson. Even that might be the doorway to something better. Failure gives you feedback. It shows you what needs to change. It shows you where you're weak, where you need more clarity, more focus, more grit. Without failure, you stay blind to your limits. You never stretch. You never build. You never become. And the greatest tragedy of life is not that people fail. It's that they never try. So change your relationship with failure. Don't run from it. Welcome it like a wise old friend. Sit with it. Learn from it. Thank it, because it is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. It is chiseling away your ego. It is sharpening your mind. It is forging your strength. Your value is not tied to your success. You are not less because you made a mistake. You are not broken because you fell short. You are human. And to be human is to rise and fall and rise again. Seneca said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. The friction is the failure. The polish is your growth. So from this moment on, I challenge you, stop fearing failure. Fear not trying. Fear settling. Fear silence. Fear never giving the world the gift of your voice. Because when you hold back out of fear, you rob the world of your light. You rob yourself of your story. Your life is not meant to be safe. It's meant to be meaningful. And meaning is born in the fire of risk. The truth is, you will fail, probably more than once. And that's okay, because you will also grow. You will rise. You will build a life of courage, of strength, of deep purpose. And one day you'll look back, not with regret, but with pride, knowing that you lived fully, boldly, bravely. So don't just watch this video. Take what you've heard and live it. Let this be the turning point, the moment you stop running from failure and start running towards your future. And when fear shows up again, and it will, you look it in the eye and say, you don't control me anymore. Because now you know the truth. The obstacle is the way. And if this spoke to your soul, don't let the conversation end here. Subscribe, join this journey, leave a comment, and share the battle you're ready to face. Let this be the start of something bigger, because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones. People who are brave enough to fall and strong enough to rise again and again and again.